Good afternoon, folks. It is 3:30 on June 29th. Time for today's Board of Election meeting. Welcome to all of you folks that are joining us today in the audience. And do I have folks online today? Three, connected.
I sure hope it's more than that.
I think it's my Cape people and all of that, but, oh, do we? Okay, all right, so we do. So thank you for those folks that are online joining us today. And, Jake, since you normally do this for me, if I could have a motion to approve the agenda.
Madam Chair, I move accepting the agenda as presented.
All right, board, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the agenda is approved. We also have the minutes from our June 23rd meeting. Are there any changes, amendments, or corrections to those minutes? If not, may I have a motion to approve as submitted?
So moved.
All right, board, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I'll circulate these to sign if you'll pass them back to me, because if they don't come back to me, I forget to sign them. So
Sometimes they even get taken home by
yeah,
mistake.
well, I didn't do that yet, but I
I did.
did not sign. I have an assignment here. So I will now turn the agenda over to our executive director, Corinne Duncan.
Thank you, Chair Weiner. We just met, so I only have a few updates. And the first one is if you are here in person, there are cupcakes and cookies on the table in celebration of 4th of July. I also have some announcements about some sessions, information sessions that we're doing. And some have been passed out to the audience, and we have more of those. Board, you have them as well. But we have a few things that we do between elections. We have the poll worker information session. We have poll observer sessions. And then we also do kind of a general elections session as well. So the poll worker sessions will be Tuesday, July 7th at 5:30 and Thursday, July 30th at 2:00. And that's here in the 35 Woodfin boardroom. We also have the observer session. We have two of those, Tuesday, August 18th at 2 p.m. Tuesday, September 1st at 5:30 p.m. So we're trying to do a day one and an evening one. And those are also here in the boardroom. And then I will also do an information session that's just general information about elections on Thursday, August 27th. And that one's at 5:30, also here in the boardroom. And those are all my announcements.
All right, so.
Madam Chair, before we go to the next
Yes,
one,
ma'am, please.
I just realized we hadn't gotten an update lately, and I've heard there's been some other communication with other county boards with the state. I wonder if you've heard anything from Dallas Woodhouse or the auditor or anyone. You.
I have not. I
And-
haven't spoken to anyone with the auditor's office.
Thank you.
Certainly.
No news is good news.
I have not. Other than the request for the public records request, that's been the only outreach. And then I'm assuming, which is not a good thing to do. So for clarification, that we've all submitted if we had anything and any documents. So I only had updates that came as a generic email from across to everyone, not to us specifically. So that's been the extent of my communication.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, you're welcome. Is Nagy? All right, Ms. Nagy, I believe it is your turn.
This is revised.
Yes or no?
This
It's
is new.
revised.
Revised.
This is new. Okay, good.
This is revised. Just
right.
kind of a little bit of a recap. So what you should, well, good afternoon, everyone. Maggie Fox is back again with you all today. So from last meeting that we had last week, I've come back with just a couple of updates for you and just some of the requests that you all had made to us. One of them was for a map. And so I've placed that on top of your work area, just so you can see where the proposed sites that we have proposed are situated in our Buncombe County map here. And I've got a larger one up here as well, so folks can see it on screen and on paper, and then also just for informational and purposes. So that's one of the things that we wanted you all had asked for today. Something else that I have that I haven't provided before, I also still have. Last couple weeks back, I gave you all a sheet with all of the general election early voting sites and numbers. I've got one now for primary. Now, I didn't go back all the way to 2008. I would have been there a little bit longer trying to get those information, but I did go back to at least to 2012. And so I just wanted to give you all that as well. This is just another good little resource, because some of the sites that we use during a general are not the same sites that we use during a primary. And so this is a good little, just some more data for you all to consider as we work through all of this information. Okay. So again, just kind of giving you, we listed all the sites that we've used previously and then the numbers. The columns in gray are your presidential elections, and then presidential year, and then the ones in white columns are your midterm elections. And this is exactly how it was on your list for the general. If anyone's missing that one, I have extras of that one as well too. Okay. So just wanted to give you all that information, but I wanted to start again based on what we discussed last week and the proposed plan, what we've updated again. So in the next slide, you will see what we have, the changes that we have made. We are still recommending 12 early voting sites for the upcoming general election in the fall, based on online survey feedback. The first weekend was something that was wanted, and so I'm proposing that we open the first Saturday, which is the 17th. So that'll give us 3 Saturdays and 1 Sunday. Saturday hours, weekend hours are 10 to 3. That's still the same, even on Sunday as well. And then the last Saturday, we always open that day. That's mandated, 8 to 3 o'clock. On the next slide, this is the second change I made based on the feedback we received, again, from the online survey. So we did all of these recommended. Number 12, it was, we had before where it was either Friendship Center or the old Permits and Inspections Office. Based on the feedback that came back through that online, the Friendship Center kept coming back and back up and up. So I made that our 12th site, and that was the second change that was made from that, the survey. In the next slide, I just want to recap the sites that we have found or we have received confirmation again, so that the board acknowledge, knows what they are. These were mentioned last time. I'm just put them back on one slide. We have, and these were suggestions from folks out in the public and from the survey, from different sources, but primarily from the survey. AB Tech Asheville Campus is available to us. Avery's Creek Community Center is available to us. Big Ivy Community Center, the Bob Lewis Ballpark, and that's that mobile voting unit. And I've got an update on that too. Upper Hominy is also available, and Warren Wilson. So again, just some of you all, we just want to make you aware what those were again, just on one page. In the next slide, I did hear back from our vendor, which is a Printellect, and they came back. I remember I talked about that out of the box idea of having a mobile unit in a place with lots of parking. We just park it there and people use the parking, which is what we need in most of our early voting sites. They came back with an estimated cost of $8,000 per week. But also that does not include additional expenses like fuel. And we would be running most of it on a backup generator that the bus has automatically and has in it, worked in it. And so we would have to kind of keep track of those expenses. It does include training for us. The unit must remain in one location, which is what we're proposing. We wouldn't be moving it from place to place. We would put it one where, park it, and that's where we would use it. And then, of course, we would be responsible for all damages. So that would mean the county adding us to their policy, which we're self-insured. And so we would just have that added for during this time frame. Again, this is something for you all just to consider. I know last time we were talking about it, and there is still a lot of things that I don't know, the challenges or, extra storage is going to be needed. I would need to figure out where I would put observers inside that RV somewhere. So, it could be something that we might pilot during the municipal election. I don't know. It could be something that we, try for 2028. I mean, there's certain things we could certainly do, but now that we have an idea how much it costs, we could better plan for it for future use. Since it's definitely not something we budgeted for. But I just wanted to bring that information back to you all, since that was something that you asked. And then, so I'm just coming back again to the proposed plan overview. Again, 12 early voting sites. Weekdays, we all know the weekdays are mandated. This board does not have a choice or an option of changing those hours. We have to open at 8 o'clock and we close at 7:30 Monday through Friday. But we do have choices for weekends. And so again, we're suggesting opening Saturdays, October 17th and the 24th, opening that Sunday, the 25th, 10 to 3 on all those days. And then the last Saturday, that is a mandated day. We all have to open, and the hours are 8 to 3 as well. So wouldn't be deviating from that as well either. And so that's all the information and updates I have for you all. So if we want to have more discussions, talk about what we have, questions, we can do
Mary
that.
Is that $8,000 over and above what a site would cost us otherwise?
So I believe we ran some numbers, and I believe Victoria came back with, it costs us, no, this would be just for the site. The 8,000 per week would just be for the cost of the RV. That wouldn't still cost the employees that will
Right.
have to hire it. So it would be above and beyond. Yes.
Okay, do we have any other sites that we've rented that would be anywhere near that cost? From to a site that we would rent, because the others we don't have to pay.
2020,
6,000?
What was that, Corinne?
we've rented a few retail spaces, and then they've been around 6,000 for the week and
For
a
the whole
half, for
time?
the 2.5 weeks. Yes. We did rent the Civic Center, and that one was pretty expensive.
We had to pay for that?
Yes.
So that came out of a grant, so there's
Yeah,
that.
Sorry. Yeah.
But that cost $10,000.
When we use the library?
No.
No,
This
the
is,
Civic
Civic
Center.
the Civic Center.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry, no.
That was in-
Libraries are not, they do not charge us. The
Okay,
commu-
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, no, we don't have
Yeah.
to.
When you
that
said
was-
Civic Center, I'm sorry,
Okay,
they're like right next door to one another.
okay, gotcha. No.
So that
My
would be at least 2,000 more than a
Well, but
most
that's just for
probable
one
rented
week,
site.
but we'd have to be renting it for more than 1 week.
We would need it for
Yeah.
2.5
So it could be
weeks.
much
Yes,
more.
It's going to be 20,000.
I would
2.5.
think so.
Yeah.
usually.
And yeah, the diesel will be a significant expense.
Yes.
And like Neggy said, where do you put an observer?
That's something else.
The other thing I think that we need to point out too is that there's only room for 2 check-in stations. So that would be, I think that in that scenario would be our bottleneck. Where
Yeah.
right now parking's our bottleneck.
Mhm.
I think we'd switch to check-in bottleneck.
Thank you, Neggy.
So just some good information to have for next time. Okay, so that's all I have. Again, any other additional questions or concerns?
I did drive out to Upper Harmony.
Okay.
2 or 3 days ago, just to see the community. And there is a lot of population out there.
Mhm.
You have to go from Inca Candler Library down Smoky Park, take a left and go way down. I didn't even get to the end of that road because there was a roadblock there, but there's lots of population out there. And it's not that close And there's also parking problems and standing in line issues at Inca Candler Library.
Mhm.
I know.
Absolutely.
So I think Upper Harmony could be a possibility for an additional one. I just want to serve those folks out there like they could be served if they were closer in. I don't know.
So that site would put it about right in here somewhere.
Can you turn that where we can see it, Nikki?
Mhm.
Want to mark it on mine?
Where are they exactly?
So it's down here, so it's
Yeah,
around
that's what I
here.
thought.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty far out, but
It's,
they're,
yeah.
they
thank
have
you.
large lots out there
Mhm.
and nice rolling hills, and it's beautiful, actually. But lots of population. I counted 11 churches just along the road in that one spot, just coming straight down. There's a lot of population out there, and it's not that close in.
Mhm.
Um,
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah, it's, yeah, Upper Harmony.
So I would like to throw that out as a possibility.
Nikki, I believe last time you talked with me or talked with us about the reasons not to have that one. I think I understood that pretty well. Um, Kareem, do you have any other thoughts other than what Nikki has said about that?
So for, early voting locations, we really prioritize successful early voting locations, if turnout is the measure, are in places where people are going to do other things. And so, Inca Candler Library, North Asheville Library, South Asheville Library are all around things that people go to do other things. So that's something that Upper Hominy does not have. We also kind of look at the population map and kind of try to make sure that we're putting sites in locations that have, dense populations. Upper Hominy is growing. I did look at the registration numbers with Negi, and since I think it was 2012,
Mhm.
it's grown 400 registered voters out there.
Right.
So there is growth. I wouldn't say it was gigantic in registration numbers.
From when?
2012.
So in 14 years, it had grown 400. Do you know what kind of percentage that is compared to the rest of Buncombe County?
That's a good question.
I do not.
I don't know that.
Okay.
I did talk to the fire chief. He said 33 square miles is what the fire station serves, 6,200 people. So he's got a pretty good amount. He's got an estimate on the number of population out there.
Yep, and my number is just for the precinct, that
Right.
Upper Homony's in, which is a pretty big precinct.
And registered voters.
What
Correct,
is that,
like not
47
total
Not-
population.
not total
Yes,
population.
47.1.
And I understand that it also seems that there has been very little activity at those sites. But I'm just wondering, since it's never been a site except a long time ago, and people may not realize that it's there. And I'm just thinking maybe we should let people know out there with signs or some way to be aware that it's even there and available to them for early voting.
Yeah, if the
we
board,
do decide on that site. I don't think it's necessarily their fault that they haven't turned out. They may not have known about it. It's remote out there. And I'd just like to serve those people.
yes, and then I think, and I can't actually remember if Negi said this or not, but an early voting site costs 30,000,
Cost what?
about 30,000.
30,000.
I think those are all the data that.
Do you have the registered
so.
voter number for that precinct?
Yes,
Or-
so 4,000, currently it is 4,521 currently.
And what precinct is that?
This is
47.1.
47.1,
Okay.
and that's, that precinct is basically entails this little corner of the county, and those folks, their precinct on election day is the elementary school, Pisgah Elementary, and they're not open when we're
They're not
voting, so that
open.
makes it easier for them to be able to do that for one day. So they do
Good
vote.
voting site.
What it was before in 2012, there was 4,169 registered voters in 2012.
There's that 400, yeah.
And now it's gone up to, right, we're at 4,521.
Am I missing something on this sheet? I don't see 2012 for Upper Hominy. I thought that that was used then.
It was used in the general,
Oh, but not in the primary.
not
Got
in a
it. So the
primary. This
only-
was our first time using the Upper Hominy during a primary.
Okay.
That's correct. So during the
Okay.
2012 presidential election, we had about 1,200, I think 1,232 was the turnout for that first time use of this site.
Maggie, may I ask a question,
Sure.
please? I'm not as familiar with the Friendship Community
Mm-hmm.
Center. So where would the overflow or where would that pull from? If somebody otherwise were going to go instead of, why would they choose, where would they come from for Friendship?
It would have to be South Buncombe Library, and then maybe some folks that are in between Arden and coming into town.
Or North Asheville,
Or
they don't
even-
want to,
yeah.
if they don't want to vote
Yeah.
at the library.
When we first started to use Friendship Center, we recognized that it could help with the heavy crowds at South Buncombe Library. And one of the things that staff has developed here is the weight map, which makes it really easy for voters to decide, well, will I go to South Buncombe or Friendship Center? You can get that pretty much real time and make a decision to make your trip as short as possible.
Madam Chair.
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm just reading this map and not looking. I'm sorry. Mary Ann.
I would like to see Upper Hominy added. I think you've all heard me say that before. The reason is in 2024, at least 3 of us were on the board at the time. We researched this, we had staff research this extensively, determined that the population increase looked like it would be sufficient to try a site in that area. We were unable to use it even though we approved it because of Helene. So it didn't get a chance to be used in a general election. To use it only in an off-year primary, I don't think gives it an actual chance to see if it can be used. And even sites that we've used more than one time, it takes a while for voters to find them and realize that they're there. My reason is if you'll look at the map, there are several sites that are close together. They're overlapping. We talk about overflow from one site to another, but there's nothing in that area for early voting. And when we say we want to serve all of our voters, at this point, we're saying, well, if you live in a highly populated area, then we'll serve you with early voting. But if you don't, then we're not going to provide that at all. And we don't know how it will be used, even though we know the Inca Candler Library has its issues. And this could be a way for people that would usually go into that site to have another site. So I am in favor of adding that site.
Madam Chair, if I may,
Jay? Yes,
I
sir.
just want to make the point that, as Director Duncan pointed out, we put early voting locations on transit routes where people are going and coming to school, to work, whatever. This would be the only one that is not on a transit route. And I just want to make that point because I would expect in the future, if we do this, other neighborhoods that maybe don't have as dense populations as these others, then they would be coming and asking for the same thing. And I wouldn't blame them one bit. we have to understand what this is going to cost. And we also have to understand the pressure that is going to be put on not staff, but the political parties to come up with election workers. That is critical. And if I recall the last discussion accurately, there seemed to be some difficulty attracting workers at that site. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I want to be very practical about this. I want every single one of our early voting sites to succeed. And if we can set this up so it's successful, that's fine. But I want to make sure, I don't want to go in on a wing and a prayer. I want to have some real certainty that folks are going to step up and do the work. And that's crucial. It'll be an additional imposition on staff. It ought to be an additional imposition on the political parties if they want this. So just putting that out there. We can't just say, oh, we'll do a 13th and it's easy. It's not easy. And we need to recognize it. We also need to recognize that this would be unusual, not on a transit
Well,
route,
the
that sort
Lester
of thing.
Community Center is also not what you would call on a transit route.
Well, I'm looking at this thing and I see a main road going right there. I've been out to Lester Community Center. That is a very, very busy location. We've used it for a while. I'm not seeing apples to apples on this one.
May I ask a question? Because I may not have accurate information, so that's why clarification. But when we had Upper Hominy open in this last cycle, did we have to modify or do anything with the hours or staff in order to keep it open? Was anything, because I didn't think we could or were supposed to do that, but how limited were we with staff?
So we had less staff we had the minimum amount of staff. So it was three workers at that location.
Okay.
So that's how we made that happen, but no change in hours, all of that.
I didn't think
was the
so,
same.
but I
Right.
just for my
Mhm.
own
And
clarification.
along with that, do you happen to know if we were able to have observers out there?
We can definitely have observers out
So
there.
we will make sure that happens from the parties, right?
Mhm.
Well,
Well,
the
the
that's,
parties
both
have to
sides.
step up.
They have to step
They
up,
have to
right?
yeah, that's
So
that's
we're
an
gonna need-
option that parties can take. There's no reason that Upper Hominy can't do that as well.
Do you happen to know if we had observers out there last time?
Oh, I don't remember if we did or not. It doesn't, I don't recall.
I'm guessing if we did, they didn't stick around very long because they saw how heavily the site was not being used. I mean, we had 283 votes there in 2.5 weeks. I don't think observers were going to hang around and wait for the voter per hour that they got. So I'd be surprised if there was a lot of observation out there.
How much does it to open it up?
30,000.
30,000. So how much would this one cost?
30,000.
30,000.
So every site on the map costs at least 30,000
Correct.
to open. So that's, price is not, the amount is not an issue here. Whether we're serving the public out there in a remote area of the county. I'm also concerned about Barnardsville, but I think that might be later.
Well, it is an issue as far as, we have a set budget and we have to work with that budget. So that limits Corinne and her staff about being able to move monies around through the year. So I think it is something we have to at least consider. Yes, we've got it in a budget. We did budget for this,
Okay.
but it's not just easy money. Because it's borrowing Peter to pay Paul potentially, because we might need something somewhere else, which we won't be able to get. So,
I think the other thing that we should also remember is the more sites, the more management. So, if we need to do something where we need to communicate with all of the sites, that's just, more sites that we need to communicate with. So just kind of remembering that there's a lot of pieces that go on with early voting sites. As we add more, then it increases the complexity, and it's not that we can't handle that, but it's something to keep in mind.
Well, it's always harder to manage things out from the city center. It's always harder for every unit of the county, I would imagine.
Yep, that's
That's
a
just
good
the way it
point.
is.
Yep, that's a good point. It's a long way. It is a fire station, so there are some advantages to being at a fire station
Right.
too.
It's very comfortable there and they have room for 40 cars at a time.
We should be so lucky. That'd be great.
It's a very nice fire
Mhm,
station. I was impressed.
Yes.
3 big fire engines,
Mhm.
gorgeous things.
So do
Madam
we-
Chair, would it be appropriate for me to make a motion?
Yes, as always.
Thank you.
are- yes, sir.
I'd make a motion that the Morton County Board of Elections approve the early voting plan as proposed by staff.
Do I have a second?
Folks, if we get a second, we can have discussion.
Well, I thought, I'll second it, but I think the discussion's pretty much been had.
Well, no, but I.
Right, but we have to have a
want to
second, too.
formalize it,
Second.
which is why I put
Sure,
a motion
second.
out there.
So now, again, as Jake said, the floor is open again for discussion.
And if anyone wants to suggest amending the motion, I mean, these are the things that we can discuss right now. But I'm just trying to push us towards the finish line.
So you all want to amend the motion?
Well, I call the question. I think we ought to just vote on his motion. Rather than amending, it's just easier to go ahead with the motion.
And then we amend. Okay.
Okay, I had one more thing to say with the discussion. You
Mhm.
can't-
Well, if you want to
Here,
have more
this is-
discussion. that's
Well,
fine.
it just one thought. If we stay at the 12 voting sites, is there a site that could be swapped for Upper Hominy to still stay at 12? I think cost is an issue always. I think $30,000 were possibly, even if we doubled Upper Hominy, would be 400 votes. But I'd like to see us stay within 12, but I don't know if there's any amendment to the 12 in opinion to the rest of the board.
Well, I think we budgeted for 14 sites.
Mhm.
So we
have
have
the
the
money.
budget.
Yeah, and I worry, I don't think we can move Inca Candler and that would be the only one. So I think it's either we add the 13th or we don't. And that's where our vote needs to be. And it has to be unanimous, I believe, right?
I really want to have a unanimous vote.
Okay.
Because
Yep.
if we have a unanimous vote, we know what the early voting plan is.
Sure.
And I believe Courtney has called the question.
I have.
So I don't believe we're at unanimity, but the question has been called and I will call for the vote. All in favor of the proposed plan as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay.
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 So I'll make a motion I move that we add Upper Harmony to the early voting sites for this upcoming election.
So that would be adding, we would have 13 sites and Upper Hominy would be the 13th site. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed?
Thank you.
Okay, so we have a unanimous plan with 13 sites to also include Upper Hominy.
Lucky 13.
Thank you.
Thank you,
for
Maggie
all your good
Fox.
work.
Thank you for researching over 40 different possible sites for doing this.
It's a monumental task.
It is.
Yeah.
Appreciate it a great deal.
Yes, and thank you for the productive board discussion. We had so much public input. I feel like we did a great job moving forward the early voting planning. I think we keep doing it better and better each time.
Okay, at this time, we will I'm sorry, Jake.
Next meeting?
Our next meeting is July 14th at 3:30.
Steel Day.
And we will recess, is it recess? We will recess from this meeting to go into closed session. We will then return from closed session to this meeting to adjourn following closed session.
Okay, Madam Chair,
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion that Blount County Board of Elections enter closed session to consult with an attorney per general statute 143-318.11A3.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
This meeting is now in recess to go into closed session. I guess I should call Brandon. and let him
Thank
know
you,
what
everybody,
he's
for
doing.
coming on out here.
into our afternoon meeting.
Madam Chair, I move that we move back into open session, having concluded our executive session without action.
Okay. May I have a second, please? Thank you. Board, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we are now back in session. If
Madam
I-
Chair, I move we adjourn.
Okay.